This is about defending democracy. This is no longer Democrats versus Republicans. What do you want your kids to believe in? There must be give and take.
This is White Flag with Joe Walsh.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments today as to whether Donald Trump should be kicked off the ballot or kept on the ballot. You know the deal, the situation. The state of Colorado determined, the Supreme Court of the state of Colorado determined that Donald Trump committed insurrection. Therefore, the state of Colorado ruled that Donald Trump should not be on the ballot in Colorado. The state of Maine also, per their election laws, the Secretary of State in the state of Maine made that determination as well, that Donald Trump committed insurrection and should not be on the ballot. A number of other states have also dealt with this issue. 14th Amendment, Section 3, basically says if you've engaged in insurrection, you're not eligible to serve. You're not eligible to be president. That's what's at issue here. A number of states have taken this up and ruled for various reasons that Trump should still be on the ballot. The Supreme Court today will hear oral arguments and take it up and make a decision. I would expect delivers a decision in fairly short order because it impacts whether somebody's name, there are deadlines here, can be on the ballot or not. I'm not going to get into the particulars of the issue. My stance has always been this. I would rather, listen to what I'm saying, I would rather kick Trump's ass at the ballot than have him kicked off the ballot. But if the courts determine he should be kicked off the ballot, if the Supreme Court ultimately makes that decision, then so be it. Colorado had a right to do what they did. Maine had a right to do what they did. Every states run their elections in this country. We have 50 different election organizations in this country. They have the authority to do what they did. Donald Trump has the authority to appeal the decisions as he has. This is all part of our democratic process. All of it. Voting, it's part of it. It's all part of it. I don't buy this argument that kicking Trump off the ballot isn't part of democracy. Bullshit. We're a nation of laws. This is all a part of democracy. We're a nation of laws, right? So it matters. All of this matters. I'm fine with all of that. I'm fine with the entire process working itself out, and that's what's happening now, and that's what will culminate with the Supreme Court making whatever decision the Supreme Court makes. Here's the point I want to make. The Supreme Court should make their decision based only on the facts, the law, and the Constitution. I believe Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. I believe Donald Trump committed insurrection. I believe he's an insurrectionist. Doesn't matter what I believe. That's what I believe. By the way, I signed onto an amicus brief with 11 other former Republican members of Congress calling for the Supreme Court to determine that Trump engaged in insurrection. I took an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution. January 6th was an attack. It was an insurrection against the Constitution. It was an attempt to stop what we as a body, Congress, is obligated to do. Make sure the peaceful transfer of power is consummated. Trump tried to end that. The point I want to make is this. The Supreme Court should make their decision based on the facts, the law, and the Constitution. They should not make their decision based on what they think the political impact should be. The Supreme Court should not make their decision about whether to keep Trump on the ballot or kick Trump off of the ballot based on whatever impact, political impact that might have, however people might react. No, they should make their decision based on the Constitution, the law, the facts. David Axelrod, a longtime Democratic consultant, worked in the Obama administration. I respect him. Man, he went on CNN again last night and he said he doesn't want Trump kicked off the ballot. And he said because he worries about the impact. He worries about the disruption it will cause. He worries about, right, like how angry Trump supporters are going to be, how it might divide the country, how pissed off people might be, how it could lead to violence. No. David Axelrod, you're wrong. None of that matters. It's all a concern, sure. It's all a worry, sure. It's all a fear. But none of that matters. And none of that should go into the highest court in the land determining, making this decision. The politics, how this will look, how this will play, David Axelrod, none of that should matter to the court. What does the Constitution say? What does the law say? What's precedent? What are the facts? That's it. To do otherwise, like I've heard Axelrod and others say, if Trump's convicted on one of these 4 indictments, oh my God, that's gonna inflame the country. Excuse me. If Donald Trump should be convicted based on the facts, the law, and the Constitution. Again, to say that he should not be convicted because it might negatively impact the country or lead to violence is to say that Donald Trump's above the law. It's to say that Donald Trump can get away with whatever he wants to say. If the Constitution says if you engage in insurrection, you can't be president, and the court determines Trump engaged in insurrection, well, then the court should say that. For the court not to say that, for the court to be afraid to say that, because they're afraid of how people will react to it, is to say that Donald Trump then is able to get away with insurrection. It's to say Donald Trump is above the law. Do you understand that? To worry about, to say that Donald Trump shouldn't be convicted because you worry about the political impact is to say that Donald Trump is above the law, period. I don't think Donald Trump should be convicted because of politics. I don't think Donald Trump should be not convicted because of politics. He should be convicted or not convicted based on the facts, the law, and the Constitution. Same thing here, David Axelrod. Trump should be kicked off the ballot or kept on the ballot based only on the facts, the law, and the Constitution. To say otherwise is to say that Donald Trump is above the law. And in this country, no one, not a president, not a former president, not a candidate for president, is above the law. I think that's so wrong. I respect David Axelrod. He's not the only one who said it. It's so wrong to say that. To say that a court should consider that. That means a court should think that Donald Trump is different than you and I. He's not. He should be treated the same. Politics should not enter this decision. We'll see what the court says. I'm Joe Walsh. Thanks for listening. Joe Walsh, whiteflag@gmail.com is my email. Joe Walsh, whiteflag@gmail.com. Be brave.
Thank Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow White Flag with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been White Flag with Joe Walsh.